Well, hello everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back and I've got an interesting video for you. Today I want to talk about Alone. I want to talk about Season 5 and I want to talk about Episode 1. Now, if you haven't seen the very first episode of Season 5 of Alone, I highly recommend that you turn this video off because it will contain pretty big spoilers and I don't want to ruin your Alone experience. Now, in this new commentary that I'm going to be doing for Season 5 of Alone, I've made a major change. And let me talk about that briefly before I get started. Okay, so the change that I'm making is, in the past, when I would do commentary on the show, I would watch an episode and I would pause and then I'd write something down, play it a little more, and then I'd gather a little more info and then I'd pause the show again and then I'd write. And at the end of watching the show, it would take me a couple of hours to get through a single episode, and then I would have 4 or 5 pages of information written down, and it was good. You know, I got a lot of information out and I was very thorough in my my commentary, but the videos I felt were too long and I felt like it was too cumbersome, too much work to do it that way. So this time around I'm changing it up. I've only got just a small bit of notes, not even a full page, and they're just key points, and I'm gonna try to do my commentary from straight off of my head, you know, with the exception of nailing some key points. And the objective of that is in hopes that we will be able to make these videos much shorter but yet still very enjoyable. So let's get started. The first thing is the quote. I love the quotes when they put the quotes on the screen, and it says, "Never confuse a single defeat with a final defeat." This was by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Let's start. Let's go. Okay, so the first person that we see is Sam. The show opens up, and the first thing I notice about Sam is he looks a lot heavier than he did before. Now, I don't know if that's just because he's older now, or, you know, the whole dad thing, or what, or if he's doing this in preparation for Alone. It doesn't really matter the reason why he's doing it, but I noticed that he looks significantly thicker, and it could be just me noticing something. He might be the same weight that he was, I don't know, but from my point of view, he looks thicker. And when it comes to survival, every pound that you got is survival. I mean, that's another day, another 2 days, stuff like that. So, you know, he's the only one on Season 5 that is representing Season 1. And he was a little bit overwhelmed by that nobody else would step up, I guess, from Season 1. But, you know, so big props to Sam for stepping up and getting out there. Now, one thing that I noticed right out the gate was that he got emotional very quickly. It was day one. You know, the first thing he sees when he opens up his pack was his picture of his family. And I think that might have triggered some emotional response out of him. He got very emotional. Now, I don't think that that's a deal breaker for him. I think that, at least my hopes are, that he's getting this out of his system early, this emotional side, and that once this comes out, he's going to be able to plow forward. And I think that's what's going to happen with Sam. I think that this is just a phase that's happening very early because he understands how much suffering he went through. And so that's my hope, is that this is just a something that's going to be quick and get it done, and we're not going to see it no more. I mean, we're probably going to see him suffer more, but, you know, I hope you guys get what I'm trying to say. So then we get to see a glimpse of Nicole, and Nicole's talking about how beautiful the place is, and just like typical Nicole, we're seeing a big smile on her face, a very positive attitude, and this woman is so cool. She does not appear to get flustered very easily. Now, she did mention, I got these ants crawling around here. She did mention her concern in the fact that, you know, Mongolia is a cold place and there's not a lot of wood available. So wood being for building structure and wood being for fire. So she raised concern about that. And then there was a small annotation that came on the screen that said only 7% of Mongolia is wooded forest. So that's kind of a new thing, because the places that they've been in the show before always had trees everywhere and wood everywhere, and Mongolia is a lot thinner. And then so she's talking about wanting to find a good shelter location, and she was talking about a cold sink, which was very smart of her to think like that, because temperatures do drop down into lower areas. So she was kind of looking at an area and it was too low, and it was very wise of her to recognize that and want to be up a little higher where the temperatures are going to be warmer. So as far as the location for her to build her shelter, I thought that was very smart. Then they start talking about some of the dangers that are in Mongolia, and they were talking about bears, and then they were talking about wolves and pit vipers. Now, venomous snakes that are vipers, their eyes are slotted, or they're like a cat's eye almost. They have a vertical lens instead of a round one. So pit vipers are dangerous. They're very venomous, and they are small, but they can get up to like 3 feet in length. And which brings back another thought, something that Sam said, because he saw one too, and Sam mentioned that if a pit viper bite happens, that the closest place to get treatment, I think he said, was in Beijing, China, so south of where he is. They didn't have any anti-venom in Mongolia. I don't know why. You know, my opinion, the Alone show, if they're gonna know that they're putting people out here in the bush with all this grass and stuff, why didn't they take precautions to bring anti-venom to that base camp? I mean, it's very possible. You got 10 people running around out there, very possible that somebody's gonna get bit. So I'm just bouncing that off of my head. These are just thoughts that are coming through right now. So back to Nicole, you know, she had caught some grasshoppers, and then that's about it. So let's go to Carly. And Carly, man, Carly was looking thicker too. I look at her and she looks like she's thicker. Her cheeks are thicker, and she's talking about the importance of food, not letting food opportunities pass, because remember, on season 3 she got pulled medically. Her BMI dropped below 17. She was deep into starvation at that point, and so now she's talking about the importance of, I'm not going to let no food opportunities pass me by. She had some grasshoppers already on day 1. She, again, you know, not to reiterate too much, but she looked heavier, she looked a lot healthier, and she looked like she's getting ready to rock this show. So on day 1, she goes out there and throws lines in the river, and she catches 3 fish. And she had mentioned that the whole time she was in Patagonia that she only caught 6 fish. So in 86 days, she only caught 6 fish. So here we are on day 1, and she's already caught 3. So she's probably feeling very happy about how things are going in Mongolia. You know, so she's kind of wanting to do more of that. Now, there's a little annotation that come on the screen, and it said 76 species of fish are in Mongolian freshwaters. And then it says that there's 5 species of graylings. So that's pretty crazy. Now, and then I think it was like the next day or maybe the following day, she caught another fish, and then she caught a big one. So I think there was a total of 5 fish, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it looked like she caught the 4th one and then maybe even a 5th one. The 5th one got off and fell off the hook or whatever, and the hook landed right in her right hand, right here where this cut is in my hand. What a coincidence, huh? I have a cut like in the same location. I don't know if you can see that right there. So the hook lands right in her hand right here, and it's on her right hand, her dominant hand. And she's like, oh man, dang it, I can't believe this just happened, you know. And it's so demoralizing, such a hard thing, because she was moving her thumb and the hook was moving, so she was in fear that there was connection between the hook and the tendon to her thumb, and she didn't want to risk permanent damage of her hand. I don't blame her at all, you know. And to be honest with you, if I was in her same position with her experience, like if I was on, you know, 86 days in Patagonia and then I go to Mongolia and on day 1 I'm catching 3 fish, I would have done the exact same thing that Carly did. I would have said, you know what, I'm rock star, I'm kicking ass, I'm gonna continue to get this food. And she even made mention of putting together a drying rack. She was starting off, and she was starting off with big things. And unfortunately, it was an accident. The hook came out of the fish and it nailed her, and things happen. She did not have a multi-tool to be able to remove the hook, so she tried again to lash her knife. She was batoning her knife with a piece of bone, trying to cut the eyelet off, and that hook stayed in her hand for over 20 hours. That's a tough situation, you know. So she does a smart thing though. She goes out there and she finds plantain, broadleaf plantain, and she also found yarrow. Yarrow, that surprised me because I wasn't aware that yarrow was in Mongolia. And she did something very wise. She put the leaves in her mouth, chewed them up, made a spit poultice, and put it on her wound. And that is what discolored the skin. In the trailer that led up to the show, you could see, and I thought that was an infection, you know, but it wasn't. It was from the green of the plantain that she had put on her wound. So and my question that came across was, did she mix the yarrow with the plantain in the spit poultice and put it on there? They didn't really specify if she did or not. Now, the reason I ask that is because if she did, the yarrow, what generally happens from my understanding is when you mix yarrow with another wild medicinal plant, it will enhance the medicinal qualities of the host plant. So yarrow makes plantain like super plantain, for the lack of a better description. So I'm kind of curious if she did that. I'm guessing that she did, which, you know, we're talking about wild medicinal plants, which takes me back to Nicole, and she was already eating wild edible plants. I think she found some rhubarb, and back to Sam, he found some wild onions. And I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but which moves us back to Nicole. Nicole heard a sound, and she was kind of looking, she's like, oh, there's a deer. And then she looks at the camera and she says, that is no deer. So it makes me wonder what that animal was. She panned the camera over there and was getting a shot, but you can't see nothing in the video. But the sound, to me, sounds like some sort of predatory animal. Maybe it was a wolf, maybe it was a bear, maybe it was a feral dog. I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of leaning towards feral dog or wolf, but I'm not sure. So Jesse, again, he's kind of the wildcat. He was the one that was on season 4 with his brother Shannon, I think was the fella's name. Shannon told Jesse, you know, when you get out there, you know, you need to be like a turtle and you need to move very slow and very methodical, and he is. So Jesse's already out there trying to build a shelter, and it looks like he's at the beginning stages of a very solid shelter. Looks like he's building a log cabin type shelter, which when you're in temperatures of -40, I think shelter is very big. So I think Jesse's taking it very seriously. Very good props going out to Jesse on that. You know, then he's walking around and he kind of sees some tracks, and then there was an annotation that come on the screen, and it said that in Mongolia the wolves can get up to 175 pounds. Big wolves, which bounces me back to another thought of Carly. When she went to bed okay, before the fish hook and everything happened, after that first night of catching those fish, and she made a beautiful meal. You know, she had the fresh fish, and she had wild medicinal and edible plants in there with her fish, and it looked like a beautiful dinner. And she was talking about how, you know, nutrition, and she's happy and stuff like that. But when she laid down, and it was like 10:30 at night, 11 at night, she hears a sound, and she's kind of aware, like, is there something gonna charge me? Is something gonna come at me? So she gets her bow close, which concerned me a little, because I don't know if the bow would have been a good choice, because if something's onto you real quickly, I don't know how quick, you know, or how much distance you need to have to get an arrow off. But I'm not knocking on her, I'm just saying that was a concern that I had. But the first episode of Alone, season 5, was epic. I mean, Nicole looked good. She was very upbeat and very positive. It was sad to see Carly had to tap out. That was frustrating, because Carly is such a trooper. You know, 86 days in Patagonia. You cannot take that away from her. When it comes to survival in situations like this, and you put yourself out there, things unfortunately happen to good people. So we're down one person. She had to tap. They brought the yellow vehicle out there, and they brought her and picked her up, and she was so heartbroken, because she wanted to, and I really believe that Carly had the potential to win. She is no joke, but when you get a fish hook in, you can't get it out. That fish hook stayed in her hand for over 20 hours. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, no matter how bad it gets, it is what it is. Sam even ran into a pit viper, and he was going to try to catch it and use it for food, which I thought was very smart. As long as you don't rupture that venom and get that all over the food, you're pretty much good to go. So anyway, I hope you guys like this new format of me just kind of bouncing all over the place. I hope this video is a lot shorter. I can tell you that it was a lot easier for me to do them this way. Please leave comments down below and let me know if you like this new format. I certainly do. And also share your thoughts down there. And if you like the content that you see on my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure the notification bell is quoted or whatever, so that you can get these updates. And please watch these videos and share them, because when you guys are watching, that's what motivates me to continue to do them. So that's very important to me. Feel free to thumb them up or down. Let me know what you think there. And thank you again for stopping by, and I can't wait till the next episode. I'm very excited to see Randy and Larry. I can't wait to see more of Britt, because Britt was out here too. Britt was doing some good things. Man, I'm very excited about this season. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.